For example number 2, we're going to look at composite functions, and this is something that you should have covered in Algebra 2, so it should kind of be a review. But let's take two functions. Let's let f of x equal e to the x, and let's look at g of x and let that equal the square root of x. Okay? So now a composite function is taking one function and plugging it into another. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two functions and I'm going to rewrite them, and so we'll say f of x is equal to e to the x. That's one function, and then the other one is going to be g of x is equal to the square root of x. Now I'm writing them in orange and blue so you could see what it's like when I plug one into the other. And so a composite function is basically plugging in one function into the other. So if I were to say f of g of x, which is the same as f, and so I'll write this so you guys can see it. When you see some notation like this, what I really want is f of something equals e to the something. So let's unpack that. When you look at the original function f of x, wherever there's an x, I plug in an x here. In other words, f of something is equal to e raised to that something. But when I say f of g, that's what f o g is, I'm really saying f of g of x. And so then I would plug in g of x up here. Well, what is that? Well, that is really, if we were to write that out completely, that would be f of, well, what is g of x? Well, it's e raised to something. Well, g of x is just the square root of x, or the square root of x. So basically what I'm saying is that, we'll use a third color, f og of x is equal to e raised to the square root of x. Now I could write that a different way too. I could say something like, let's do this again. Let's do g of f of x. So now in this case I'm going to start with g of something is equal to the square root of something. So when I remove the x's, I'm replacing them with parentheses to kind of be a placeholder. And so since I want g of f, I want g of f of x, and so that would be the square root of f of x. Okay? And then so in the next line, that would be g of the square root of something. Well, what is that something? Well, f of x is e to the x, so it's g of e to the x, which is the square root of e to the x. So if I were asked to write that, skip all the little steps in between, I could say that g of f is equal to the square root of e to the x. Any questions?